Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton. Senator, you were able to hear that from Dick Durbin. As we await some Q&A to happen there, we'll continue to monitor it. Your reaction?
Yeah. Freedom and your body, your choice is what Dick Durbin, the Democrats, say until it comes to vaccines and mask mandates and everything else they want to dictate to you. Dick Durbin and almost every other Democratic senator, though, can barely find it in themselves to condemn this egregious breach of trust at the Supreme Court. An unprecedented moment in our history, but it's just another part of the left wing's continued onslaught against the court. You know, just last year, Chuck Schumer walked across the street and started condemning justices by name based on how he thought they might rule. Other Democratic senators have filed briefs at the court that have basically threatened the Supreme Court with court packing. More Democratic senators are saying today that we need to pack the courts. Every time Democrats don't get their way, whether it's in a presidential election or a Senate election or Supreme Court ruling, they assault the institution itself. It's dangerous and it needs to stop.
Senator, the looks like the purpose of legislation that would be brought to the floor by Chuck Schumer is merely to take names, because it doesn't look like it would pass, given the fact that you've got to have 60 votes unless you nuke the filibuster. And Senators Manchin and Sinema have suggested that they're not going to go for that, although they haven't particularly weighed in on this case. But Senator Mitch McConnell earlier today said he wants to get to the bottom of this leak, and he wants the person found and punished. Listen here.
Last night, it appears their campaign hit a new low. Historically, the justices, clerks, and staff have prized and protected the court's confidentiality. The justices must be able to discuss and deliberate in an environment of total trust and privacy. Americans cannot receive a fair trial if politicians, pundits, bullies, and mobs get a say in court.
Senator, this leak was unprecedented. How much damage do you think it has done to the court?
I believe it does real damage to the way the justices conduct their business. Again, Washington is the town awash in leaks, but the Supreme Court is the one island in that sea of leaks. And I worry that the justices for years won't be able to have the kind of open, candid deliberations that has characterized the court's business throughout our history. I will say that I agree that we need to get to the bottom of this leak. Look, very few people at the Supreme Court would have had access to this opinion. Something tells me they're probably not a criminal mastermind or skilled at the arts of espionage and subterfuge and misdirection. I'm pleased to see the Chief Justice has directed the Marshal of the Court to investigate this matter. I expect that the FBI and other federal law enforcement, if called upon, will assist the Supreme Court in this investigation to get to the bottom of it promptly and to hold all persons accountable.
So we'll see what happens there and if that person will ultimately be held accountable. What do you think of the fundraising and the politicking that is already happening as a result of this leaked draft? We've seen it already begin. I've got in front of me Biden-Harris Democrats pointing to the leaked draft. They're already asking for money for Democrats based on this development last night.
Well, Sandra, it's an example of how the Democrats really don't see the rule of law or their court's independence as principles that are above politics. For them, everything is about politics. That's why Chuck Schumer went to the Supreme Court steps last year and condemned justices by name. That's why Senate Democrats have filed briefs threatening the court. That's why they've tried to pack the courts. They don't believe in the rule of law. They don't believe in the Constitution. They believe in ideology and power, and they will do whatever they can to seize it. And when you have an egregious breach of trust like this, they'll start fundraising off of it as well.
Yeah. Senator, I want to ask you about another project that you're involved in, and that is legislation that would forbid the formation of this Disinformation Governance Board. Jen Psaki at the briefing yesterday said, don't know what you're all worried about. This is going to be nonpartisan and apolitical. Listen to what she said.
Well, Peter, I think I would note, and I'm not sure if this has been in your reporting yet, but this is a continuation of work that was done under the prior administration, under the Trump administration, to take steps to address disinformation, address the use of disinformation in helping smugglers prompt the movement of more migrants across to the border.
So what Jen Psaki was talking about there, Senator, was the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. Is this simply an extension of that? I mean, what about the apparent politics of the woman who's in charge of it, Nina Jankowicz?
John, disinformation, to the Democrats is anything that's inconvenient to Joe Biden and the Democrats. Maybe if this board had been in place 2 years ago, they would have cracked down on me for saying that this coronavirus almost certainly came from the labs in Wuhan. Maybe they would have cracked down on all the Americans who said that masks were not terribly effective against this virus, or that vaccinated people can get the virus. All of things which have been proven true so far. And as for the woman who's been appointed to this position, I mean, she appears to be mentally unstable. Like so many of the Biden administration appointees, if you look at their social media, they appear to be mentally unstable. She has no business refereeing political disputes about differing opinions.
Yeah, it looks like we teed up that Mary Poppins video again. I don't know that so many people have the appetite to see that again in this moment, Senator. It's hard to believe. What a week it has been, right?
It is a very consequential week, but I think it's very important that we get back to first principles, and that we respect our Constitution and we respect the rights of our people to speak their mind, to elect representatives of their choices, and to make the laws that govern them. And I think that's a common theme between this egregious leak at the Supreme Court and the Biden administration's efforts to referee political disputes with this new Ministry of Truth.
Senator, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Good to see you. All right.